시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까? 강연TV에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 오늘은 4월 2일 목요일입니다. 오후 11시 44분입니다. 이번 시간은 구약성경을 읽어보도록 하겠습니다. 신명기 10장 1절부터 영어 성경으로 읽어보겠습니다. At that time the Lord said unto me, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mount, and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark. And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand. And he wrote on the tables according to the first writing the 10 commandments which the Lord spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly, and the Lord gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mountain, and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be, as the Lord commanded me. And the children of Israel took their son from Beer-los of the children of Yaakan to Mosera. There Aaron died, and there he was buried, and Eleazar his son ministered in the priest's office in his studio. From thence they journeyed unto Goda, and from Goda to Yotbada, a land of rivers of waters. At that time, the Lord separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord, to minister unto him, and to bless in his name unto this day. Wherefore Levi has no part nor inheritance with his brethren. The Lord is his inheritance, according as the Lord thy God promised him. And I stayed in the mount according to the first time 40 days and 40 nights, and the Lord hearkened unto me at that time also, and the Lord would not destroy thee. And the Lord said unto me, Arise, take thy journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land which I swear unto their fathers to give unto them. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good. Build the heaven and the heaven of heavens in the Lord thy God, the earth also with all that therein is. Only the Lord had delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For the Lord your God is God of gods and the Lord of lords, a great God, almighty and terrible, with regard the son, not persons, nor takes reward. He does execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow and robbers, the stranger, in giving him food and raiment. Love you, therefore, the stranger, for we are strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy God, that has done for thee these great and terrible things, which thine eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 310 persons, and now the Lord thy God has made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. Therefore, thou shalt love the Lord thy God, and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments always. And though eat this day, for I speak not with your children which have not known, and which have not seen the chastisement of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm, and his miracles and his acts which he did in the midst of Egypt unto Pharaoh the king of Egypt, and unto all his land. And what he did unto the army of Egypt, unto their horses, and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued after you, and how the Lord has destroyed them unto this day. And what he did unto you in the wilderness until he came into this place, and what he did unto Dan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their households and their tents and all the substance that was in their possession in the midst of all Israel. But your eyes have seen all the great acts of the Lord with he did. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments which I command you this day, that ye may be strong and go in and possess the land whither ye go to possess it. And that ye may prolong your days in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give unto them, and to their seed, a land that flows with milk and honey. For the land whither thou goest in to possess it is not as the land of Egypt, from whence ye came out, where thou so the store they said, and what lead what the star it with thy put as a garden of herbs. But the land whither ye go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drink water of the rain of heaven. A land which the Lord thy God cares for, the eyes of the Lord thy God are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even unto the end of the year. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and sow in oil. And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then the Lord's arrest be kinder against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the rain yield not her pollute, and rest perish quickly from upon the good land which the Lord gives you. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that it may be as upon to reach between your eyes. And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in a sign house, and when thou were kissed by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou liest up. And thou shalt write them upon the door posts of thine house, and upon thy gate, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. For if ye shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then will the Lord drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost she shall your coast be. There shall no man be able to stand before you, for the Lord your God shall lay the fear of you and the dread of you upon all the land that he shall tread upon, as he has said unto you. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if ye obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you this day. And of course, if ye will not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after other gods which ye have not known. And it shall come to pass when the Lord thy God has brought thee in unto the land whither thou goest to possess it, that thou shalt put the blessing upon Mount Korishim, and the course upon Mount Ebal. they not on the other side Jordan, by the way, where the sun goes down in the land of the Canaanites, which is well in the Chem Egan, over against Gilgal, beside the plains of Moreh. For ye shall pass over Jordan to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God gives you, and ye shall possess it and dwell therein. And ye shall observe to do all the statutes and judgments which I set before you this day. These are the statutes and the judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Lord God of the fathers given thee to possess it, or the days that ye live upon the earth. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and upon their groves with fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the nations of them out of that place. Ye shall not do so unto the Lord your God, but unto the place which the Lord your God shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall ye seek, and cedar thou shalt come. And see there ye shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifice and your tithes and heave offerings of your hand and your bows and your freewill offerings and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. And there ye shall eat before the Lord your God, and ye shall rejoice in all that ye put your hand unto, ye and your households, wherein the Lord thy God has blessed thee. Ye shall not do after all the things that we do here this day, every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. For ye are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Lord your God gives you. But when ye go over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God gives you to inherit, and when he gives you rest from all your enemies round about, so that ye dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall ye bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes and the heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which ye vow unto the Lord. And ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God, ye and your sons and your daughters and your men servants and your maid servants and the Levite that is within your gates, for as much as he has no part nor inheritance with you. Take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offerings in every place that thou seest, but in the place which the Lord shall choose in one of thy tribes, there thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee. Notwithstanding, thou mayst care and eat appreciate in all thy gates whatsoever thy soul lost after, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he has given thee. The unclean and the clean may eat thereof as of the low bog and as of the heart. Only ye shall not eat the bread, ye shall pour it upon the earth as water. Thou mayst not eat within the cage the tithes of a sign corn or of a sign wine or of a sign oil or the purse strings of thy hot or of thy flock, nor any of thy vows which thou vowest, nor thy free will offerings or heave offering of a sign hand. But must eat them before the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose thou and thy son and thy daughter and thy man servant and thy maid servant and the Levite that is within thy gates, and thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God in all that thou put notice in hands unto. Take heed to thyself that thou forsake not the Levite, as long as thou livest upon the earth. When the Lord thy God shall enlarge thy border, as he has promised thee, and thou shalt say, I will eat flesh, because thy soul longs to eat flesh. Thou mayst eat flesh whatsoever thy soul lusts after. If the place which the Lord thy God has chosen to put his name there be too far from thee, then thou shalt kill of thy herd and of thy flock, which the Lord has given thee, as I have commanded thee, and thou shalt eat in thy gates whatsoever thy soul lusts after. Even as the raw bug and the heart is eaten, so thou shalt eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. Only be sure that thou eat not the bread, for the bread is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Thou shalt not eat it, thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. Only thy holy things which thou hast done, and thy vows thou shalt take, and go unto the place which the Lord shall choose. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the praise and the blood upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the portion. Observe and hear all these words which I command that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of the Lord thy God. When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeed them, and dwell least in their land. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he eateth have they done unto their gods forever. Their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. What thing soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and gives thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for the Lord your God proves you to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after the Lord your God, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him, and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn you away from the Lord your God. which brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to slaughter the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee to walk in, so shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend which is as a sign on soil, and thy son the secretary, saying, let us go and serve other gods which thou hast not known, thou nor thy father's son, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him. Neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thine hand shall be pressed upon him to put him to death, and afterward so the hand of all the people, and thou shalt stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to study away from the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you. If thou shalt hear say in one of thy cities, which the Lord thy God has given thee to dwell there, saying, certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other gods which ye have not known. Then shalt thou inquire and make a search, and ask diligently, and behold, if it be true so, and the thing certain that such abomination is wrought among you, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of the city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein, and the cattle thereof with the edge of the sword. And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the street thereof, and shalt burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof every whit for thy God, and it shall be an heap forever, it shall not be built again. And there shall cleave not of the curse the thing to thine handle, that the road may turn from the pierce fierceness of his anger, and show the mercy and have compassion upon the and multiply as he has so one unto thy father's son. When thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God to keep all his commandments which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord thy God. Ye are the children of the Lord your God. Ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord has chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which ye shall eat, the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the gaga, and the wild ox, and the chamois, and every beast that part saw the hoof and the cleaver saw the cropped into two crows and the chew saw the could among the beasts that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, there ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof as the camel and the hare and the coney. For they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof, therefore they are unclean unto you. And the swine, because it divides the hoof, yet choose not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch it or the carcass. These ye shall eat of all that are in the waters, or that have fins, and scales shall eat, and whatsoever has not fins and scales ye may not eat. It is unclean unto you. Of all clean bodies ye shall eat, but these are the of which ye shall not eat, the eagle and Oshi plague and the osprey and the graze and the kite and the bird after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl and the night hawk and the cow and the hook after his kind, the little owl and the great owl and the swan and the pelican and the killer eagle and the cormorant and the stork and the heron after her kind, and the wing and the bat, and every creeping thing that flies is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten. But all clean fowls ye may eat. Ye shall not eat of anything that is of ye shall thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it, or thou mayest sell it unto an lion. For thou art unholy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seize or kid in his mother's milk. Thou shalt truly tithe or the increase of thy seed, that the field brings forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to praise his name there. The tithes of thy corn, of thy wine, and of sign oil, and the first ring of thy holders, and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. And if it may be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the price to if the price be too far from thee, which through thy God shall choose to set his name there, when through thy God has blessed thee. Then shalt thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lust after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desires. And thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household. And he Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he has no part nor inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithes of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he has no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which within thy gates, shall come, and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord my God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand, which thou doest. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lends ought unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor, or of his neighbor, or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Of free in foreigner to make exact it again, but that which is sign with the border sign hand shall release. Seven, there shall be no poor among you, for truth shall greatly bless thee in the render which through the God give thee for an inheritance to possess it. Only if you carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. For the Lord thy God bless thee as he promised thee, and thou shalt rent unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow, and thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. If there be among you a poor man, about one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which is Lord, the God give us thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother, but thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely render him fully sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not sort in thy wicked heart, saying, the seventh year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be against thy poor brother. And thou give to him not, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee. Thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy land. And if thy brother and Hebrew man or an Hebrew man be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt finish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy plough, and out of thy wine press, of that where with Lord thy God has blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loves thee, and thine house, because he is well with thee. then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever, and also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. It shall not seem hard unto thee when thou sendest him away free from thee, for he has been worth a double hired servant to thee in serving thee 6 years, and the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. All the first ring male saw that come of thy herd and of thy flock thou shalt send quantify unto Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the first ring of thy bullock, nor shall the first ring of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before Lord thy God year by year in the place which the Lord shall choose thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not satisfies it unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike as raw pork and as heart. Only thou shalt not eat the bread thereof. Thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. 신명기 15장 23절까지 읽어보았습니다. 다음 16장부터는 다음 시간에 계속해서 읽어보도록 하겠습니다. 시청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 안녕히 계십시오.